Hello and welcome to AAU Talks on AAU TV, brought to you by the Association of African Universities. My name is Isabella Tota Hinakwa, the sitting host for this episode. Today we are honored to welcome the center leader for one of the 17 centers of excellence under the ACEMFS project in Nigeria, and he's going to provide us with some insight and updates about the center. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, I'll introduce our guest to you and then start with the discussion. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. This is AAU Talks on AAU TV, and today is all about an exclusive interview with the center leader for Africa Center of Excellence for Mycotoxin and Food Security, Professor Hassan Anthony Makun. He's going to help us or provide us with some insights and also updates about the center. Hello, Professor Makun. You're welcome to AAU Talks.
Thank you very much.
Right. Before we start, I would like you to give us some highlights about the current initiative run by the center and also the goals of the center.
Okay. I'm Professor Hassan Anthony Makun. I'm the center leader of the African Center of Excellence for Mycotoxin and Food Safety. Before I introduce the center, it would be nice to give a background as to why we chose to focus on food safety. First and foremost, there is this popular statement that you are what you eat. If you eat healthily, you will live healthily. And even longer. But if you eat unsafe food, then it means you're going to be ill and you are likely to not attain your full lifespan. Now, what we designed to do in our center is to make foods safer. There are many microorganisms. I prefer to use the technical term pathogens. Those are organisms that cause diseases. And there are many chemical residue poisons that are in our foods that are making our food unsafe. Such that it's on record now that food, from unsafe food, we have up to 200 diseases arising from unsafe food. So that means that is a major health challenge we have in the world globally. Then when we come to Africa, apart from the fact that we are not having enough to eat, these poisons are coming naturally from our environment into our food. And let me list them. We have many major classes of food, poisons in food. One, we have the mycotoxins, which are poisons that are secreted in our foods by fungi. We have the bacteria pathogens, like your salmonella, your staphylococcus, and all that, the common ones that you know, that also are found in our foods, and then their poisons also is secreted in our food. Unfortunately, we also have some chemical residue. The use of pesticides, the abuse of pesticides in our agricultural practices, where so much of these poisonous chemicals are now used to control pest, which is fine, but then the amount now being used leaves quite a lot in the soil that our crops will now assimilate them into the grains. Then we also have these toxic metals. Toxic metals are also found in pesticides. Apart from that, we are beginning to see illegal mining where these heavy metal or toxic metals are being brought from the depth of the soil to the surface, and the plants will now take them. In some cases, like we had in Nigeria, water, we now carry them into our water system and we take them in. Then, of course, the food, the crops, would also take them in. So we have the heavy metals. Apart from that, we also have this, what we call the veterinary drug residues. We treat our animals with antibiotics and common drugs that are used in treating human beings. Now, the problem with the veterinary drug residue is that while you treat your animal, which is good, after treatment, you are expected to give an interval of between 10 to 2 weeks after treatment before slaughter.
Oh, really?
So most times, our farmers don't do that. In fact, you find diseased animals under treatment being taken to the abattoir. Now, what is the issue with that? Apart from zoonosis, diseases that are transferable from animals directly to human, we also have these drug residues that are coming from the animal into the meat of the animal, the eggs, the milk. And so these antibiotics that would have been cleared after 2 days, we end up in the slaughtered cow, and therefore the meat on the table as antibiotics in the milk and egg. Now it means on our table we're also taking in antibiotics from our meat and meat product. Where is that leading us to? It's leading us to a situation where the organisms we have in our system, they could be the normal flora, or they could be pathogens we have taken in, are not being made more resistant to these common drugs that treat our diseases. So if you have malaria, for example, or let's say you have typhoid fever, for example, the amount of chloramphenicol that would have cured that bout of disease, you find that you will need much more, because they have now they've been treated with subacute doses of antibiotics from the food and meat product, and so they become more resistant. Now, this major microbial and chemical residue in our food have been associated with up to 200 diseases. That's one. Unfortunately for us, in Africa, where we live now, that is the West African region and the Central African region, are worse off with regards to the management of these poisons in our food. And our weather, the tropical weather, also promotes these organisms in growth in our food.
So I think this is why there was the emergence of the center. It's really crucial.
Sure, definitely. And for that reason, we find it as a big developmental challenge. Because number one, we are trying to solve our sustainability goals of you need healthy people. Apart from healthy people, you need people to sustain themselves financially. And then even the issue of gender, 75% of people that produce food are women. So if the food is not safe, it means that the economic strength of our women will definitely be depleted. So it has the economic aspect and all that. It is for this reason that the diseases, the pathogens, and the toxic chemicals that are coming from our food are reducing our lifespan. We are worse for it in terms of our financial status at a nation and region and even as a continent. And of course, like we said, because of these diseases, we are not living to our own lifespan.
Yeah.
For these critical reasons, we decided to focus on a center that will build capacity, produce research solution to reduce, prevent and control these microbial and chemical toxicants in our food, so that our foods will be safer, will be healthier for it, and will have better economic growth, prosperity.
This is really
That is the reason for the Center of Excellence for
very,
Mycotoxin
very
and Food Safety.
important. Very, very important.
Yes.
I believe since it's a capacity building on capacity training,
Yeah.
your focus are on students.
Yes.
Now, how many programs are you running at the center?
We are running 3 programs. We are running Masters and PhD in Food Safety, Masters and PhD in Toxicology, Masters and PhD in Molecular Biology and Bioinformatics. It is deliberate to have toxicology and molecular biology and bioinformatics go along with food safety, because the toxicologist will normally evaluate the toxicity of these toxicants in food and be able to tell us the safe levels we should put for these toxicants. All right? So that's why the toxicologist is there. And the toxicologist will also tell us what are the organs, the health impact of these toxins. Now, the molecular biologist and the bioinformatic expert will have to look at these organisms, be able to give us their cell biology, how they express their toxicity, and so give us tools as to reduce their growth and, if possible, eliminate them from our food. So these 3 programs were deliberate to come together to make sure we have safer foods.
I see there are some internal collaborations in terms of this topic coming together in order to train the students. How about external collaborations? Do you collaborate with other people for your research and also capacity building?
Thank you very much. You see, before we even, when we conceived the thought of this center, before now, as researchers in our various fields, we work with the industry, the food industry. In Nigeria, we work with the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration. In Sierra Leone, we work with the Sierra Leone Standard Bureau. In Ghana, we've always talked with the people, some of their experts that are on the African Union Codex committees. We work together. And so the design of the center came out from this relationship of industries that are working or producing food. The curricula for all these programs were designed by more than 46 of our international and national partners, both academic and industry partners. So it's a curriculum, it's a program that had input from about 46 partners. And we're still working together. We're still teaching together. It is mandatory for a PhD student in food safety to have 2 academic supervisors. The third one must be an industry supervisor.
Interesting.
So we're bridging the gap between knowledge now and the industry. Solving the problem within that sector.
Now, before we go for break, I would like you to highlight, since the inception of the center, what are some of the projects that have been successfully implemented?
Good. Right from the beginning, we had 14 research agenda. We intended to do surveillance of these microbial and chemical residues in our food. Surveillance using appropriate accurate methods and equipment. The next thing we thought of is we're going to put in solutions, research products that will prevent and control these toxicants. Now, for now, we have a nano-based water filter.
Okay.
Industries throw a lot of these chemicals into our water bodies.
Very true.
We'll be able to produce a nano-based water filter that will filter out these toxicants and make the water pure for irrigation. That's number one. We are presently working on resistant cultivars of crops. Our millet, the Nigerian cultivar of millet, we've studied it for about 3-4 years continuously and discovered it has resistance to mycotoxin contamination.
Wow.
So, at the end of the day, we should be able to say, if we are looking for crops that will reduce the chances of diseases from food, we're looking at crops like sorghum, that's guinea corn, millet, and all that. These are the things we are producing and giving data to the Codex Alimentarius Commission. We design our project, our student researchers, in such a way that she will take care of generating data for African countries at Codex Alimentarius Commission, which is the commission that sets food standards. Now, most times African countries do not have data to back their argument in the commission. What we try to do is, if we look at the agenda item of Codex Alimentarius, we make sure that the issues that will be taken in the next 1 or 2 years, one of our master students or 2 or 3 will be working on it, so that Africa will now be able to generate the scientific data for the continent to argue and get a safe limit for us. And remember, to put it straight, we have students for about 15 African countries. So we make sure that when you choose to work on a particular crop, you take samples from your home country, and you are also having a supervisor in your home country, and then you do comparative analysis with that in Nigeria. So we're able to supply Africa with data, not necessarily Nigeria where the center is.
This is a very, very good initiative. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll focus on your collaboration with Wafusan, exactly, and also your sustainability for the center.
Exactly.
We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. Stay tuned. Welcome back from the break. This is AAU Talks on AAU TV, and today it's all about an exclusive interview with the center leader for Africa Center of Excellence for Mycotoxin and Food Safety, Professor Hassan Anthony Makun. If you just joined, you can follow the discussion on our social media handles. Hello, Professor Makun. Thank you for sticking with us. Before we went for the break, you were talking about some of the projects successfully implemented by the center. I would like to know your collaboration with Wafosa. How long have you collaborated with them, and what are some of the projects done with them so far?
Okay. Now, this is the time to give credit to the AAU, Association of African Universities. With the advent of the second ACE, that's the African Center of Excellence for Development Impact. When we came on board, AAU made a call for a grant of $100,000 for centers to come together and establish networks. Now, we decided as a food safety center, we will bid for this grant and bring other centers that have tools and skills to help with making our food safe. So 4 of us came on board. The African Center of Excellence for Mycotoxin and Food Safety, WABIB of Ghana, PUTO of Nigeria, Port Harcourt, and then Guinea.
Okay.
We came together and had a proposal.
Okay.
We designed it in such a way that we are going to share academic and research resources,
Okay.
including staff and student exchange, and then doing common researches, complementing each other with researches that are going to make our food safer.
Yeah.
As part of it, we're also supposed to do workshops and do short courses for both industry partners and academic partners. So luckily, well, with that proposal, which we wrote out with this intention, we got the grant.
Okay.
And so in getting that grant, we established the West African Food Safety Network with these 4 participating centers.
Okay.
Now, the centers has done quite a number of things, but one of the major things we do is we make sure we go around each of the 4 participating universities or centers now and deliver workshops in our specialized area with regards to food safety. So, WABIB of Ghana have come to our university in Mina, Nigeria, and has taken us through a very intensive workshop on veterinary drug residues and pathogens that are involved in contaminating our food. So it was there for 1 full week. They were there for 1 week. Now, a researcher from the University of Port Harcourt, PUTO, has been to Ghana here and had looked at the toxicological evaluation of these food toxicants in food, the food toxicants. And it was another elaborate workshop here in Ghana. Then, I am coming from Nigeria too to now talk real food safety and One Health for 1 week. This is why I'm here.
Wow.
Guinea, University of Guinea will be with us in Port Harcourt to look at the epidemiology of the outbreak of foodborne diseases. Now, apart from these workshops and workshops and short courses, we also do staff and student exchange. We have some of our staff that have come from Mina to University of Ghana to learn techniques in molecular biology and bioinformatics so that we use it in our food safety projects. Then the Guinea people also came to Ghana. Some have been to Port Harcourt and that, so we have student-staff exchange. We also have some collaborative researches we are doing. Ghana is looking at antibiotic resistant residues in meat in Ghana. So they are completing it, we are funding that. FUT is looking at food fraud, that's ACEMFS. We are looking at food fraud generally. We are taking honey, milk, and see how they are adulterated, with things that will make the seller get more money for economic benefit. Of course. Then Guinea is looking at the epidemiology of toxicants. PUTO is looking at some method of eliminating this toxicant from our system. So eventually, the research output from these researches will again impact on
the society,
on the safety of food.
Yeah. I see that the network is really, really doing a lot.
That's right.
You said you are here to attend a workshop. What is the aim of the workshop? Can you give us an update?
Okay. Well, the aim of the workshop is clear. We're taking through students. I know we have some staff of CSRIR, that are dealing with food. We are carrying them through the occurrence, the health impact, the prevention and control method of those 5 classes of food toxins I mentioned.
Yeah.
And then apart from that, we're also carrying them through some new techniques using artificial intelligence and nanotechnology to mitigate the occurrence and the health impact of these toxins in our food.
Now, let's talk about the success stories.
Yes.
How many students so far has been graduated from your center?
Yes. Well, for now, we have graduated 2 students. But in a short while now, we'll be graduating about between 38 to 42 students. And then in the next 2 months, they will be done with their project, and about 38 to 42 students will be graduating. But you know, what happened was Nigerian ACEs did not have their money in good time. There was the issue of the pandemic, and then there was the issue of an 8-month industrial action by the universities. So that delayed some of our graduation.
Now, let's talk about addressing challenges. I like the fact that you made mention of One Health, which is one of the changing landscape in health. Now, focusing on climate change, which is also a major topic globally.
Yes.
What strategies are being put down, or how are you trying to solve some of the challenges brought by climate change in terms of health?
That is one of our favorite topics because the climate change is impacting on our food industry. Luckily, we have just experienced unseasonal rain now. I'll just use that as an example here in Ghana. We have also been having unseasonal rain in Nigeria. Because by September, we are not supposed to be having rain again. But last 2 weeks, we had heavy rain. Now, unfortunately for us, the humid situation created by this unseasonal rain leads to proliferation of these microorganisms, and therefore there are toxins in our food. So climate change is one aspect we must mitigate on in order to make our food safe. So what are we doing in our center? First, we have bidding for a grant, a national grant, to do surveillance of mycotoxin in relation to weather condition. In doing so, we will end up with a predictive mathematical model that will be translated into early warning signs, signals. That means we'll have an app now for you as a farmer, right in your phone. As the weather, if you have the weather conditions, put it in your phone, it will tell you the level of contamination of mycotoxin that is anticipated. And now, you will now have to do the needful. Use the prevention and control method and strategies we have taught you to prevent this mycotoxin from elaborating due to this climate change. We have escalated this to the global level because with some partners in Belgium, in Netherlands, in Benin Republic, South Africa, Kenya, and which other country? Did I say Cote d'Ivoire?
No.
Cote d'Ivoire, right? We have come up again to bid for a grant, an European Union grant, to look at method that will reduce the contamination of this food, this toxicant in food, processing method, fermentation, and all that. But because we have strength in AI and nanotechnology from the ACEMFS end, we'll be able to get the agreement of our partners. Let's look at, again, doing an early warning system to mitigate the climate change impact on food pathogens and mycotoxins. They agreed, it formed one of it. So we have not signed the grant yet. That will be in January. At the end of the day, when this grant is signed, We will all come together to give Africa an early warning system based on the condition of their country to mitigate against climate change.
Right.
So no doubt about it, this is where we are focusing. And apart from that, before now, we have designed for even Codex Alimentarius methods for prevention and reduction of mycotoxin in cassava and cassava-based products. It's one of our achievements and successes.
Now, before we wrap up, or we're about wrapping up, I like the fact that you made mention you are bidding for funds for more projects. Yeah. Now, the ACEMFS project is coming to an end. What strategies has been put in place to
sustainability?
Yes, the center.
I must say it this way. My university, that I led the research office for 5 years, has developed skills, good grant writers, such that we are top when it comes to the national grants for the past 2 years. So we are good in grant writing. We are going to leverage on our grant writing and escalate it to international level that we have already started doing. That's one. Number two, these intellectual properties that are going to come from our researches, we'll try to patent them and take them to the market. And get our entrepreneurship directorate to make sure we get money from that to sustain the center and even the university. Then, of course, one of our strengths, even when you compare us with other ACEs, is we have students that are coming. We have more students and more centers. And the reason is not far-fetched. The food safety is a new course. You rarely find people working in the food industry acquiring skills to remove poisons from the food. So most of our food regulatory agencies within Africa are sending their
people to come.
So we are sure that will bring us students and then earn from tuition fee from those students. Apart from that, we are also looking at the possibility of developing a business plan for the center. We will need to diversify to other things. We will be going to farmers, have our what we call our mycotoxin toolbox. It doesn't mean a box
literally
in physical sense, but you are looking at having strategies that you are going to put in place for the farmer to reduce these pathogens and chemical residues, toxic chemical residue in our food from farm to table. So we have these strategies in place, what we call code of practice, that we're going to take it to the market. Get farmers, first of all, we'll have pilot studies. By the time the farmers are now able to get premium from their safe crops, you understand? Then it will go out and we'll continue to go towards that. We will not forget that we are lecturers. So we'll continue to do short courses for the professionals. We have done that in Abuja. The professionals from from the regulatory agencies, they paid, and we took them through this. So these are so many other things that our business plan will come up with, will be our.
I see you have a lot of plans to sustain the center.
Thank
you, Professor Makun, for joining us today and also for sharing your insights about the center. We hope to see the success of the center.
The honor is mine. I'm very glad and happy. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And that is all for this episode, as we talked with Professor Anthony Makun, the center leader for one of the 17 centers in Nigeria. Continue watching AAU TV for more of educative content. If you just joined, follow us on our social media handles at Association of African Universities on Facebook and YouTube, and also AAUTV_African Universities on Twitter. My name is Isabella Tetahinakwa. See you again.